Hey, Sweat Sisters. Welcome to the Pretty Girl Sweat Show, which highlights women who are balancing demanding careers with a healthy lifestyle and hurdling over personal and professional obstacles. I'm your host, Aeshia DeVore Branch, and each week I have a sister-to-sister chat with an inspiring go-getter, and listeners learn how good things come to those who sweat. If this is your first time listening, what up? You could be anywhere in the world and you're here with me, and I really appreciate that. If you love what you hear, take a second to subscribe to the podcast so you get updates every time we drop a new episode. If you got half a second, leave a rating, which will help other Sweat Sisters in need of some inspiration find our podcast. If you have a minute, please follow us across all social media platforms. We are at Pretty Girl Sweat on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and YouTube. Use the hashtag PrettyGirlSweat when sharing this episode. And if you have 5 minutes, please leave a review and let us know how we're doing. You're listening to the Season 2 finale of the Pretty Girl Sweat Show. And on episode 22, our guest Lauren Cole keeps it 100 about playing AAU sports, being coached by a parent, and finding a partner that keeps you on track. Born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida, the cosmetologist turned personal trainer competed as a scholarship track and field athlete all 4 years of college, and even after a career-ending injury, has remained in the health and fitness industry for almost 10 years. Keep listening to learn how health and wellness plays an important role in her life as a wife, mother, and owner of a nutrition store and supplement manufacturing company. Lauren, I am too excited to be talking with you in depth today because we talk often.
Yes, we do.
But this is definitely a different conversation. I'm so glad to have you on the Pretty Girl Sweat Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm always excited doing anything with you guys.
Yay. Okay. Well, I would love our listeners to get to know about you way more than they already know. So can we just take us back to your childhood? What was little Lauren like?
Little Lauren was busy. I've always been pretty busy, involved in extracurricular activities outside of school, and I've always been involved in sports. I mean, since I can remember, my mom has this picture of me on the track. I must be like 5, maybe. But I've done all types of sports trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do or should be doing. Needless to say, I ended up track and field ended up being my thing, and I did the whole AAU USA summer track for I don't know how many years. One thing people actually don't know about me is I started out playing travel softball, fast pitch softball.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I was on a traveling fast pitch softball team for a while, and I actually enjoyed it a whole lot. Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that. That is definitely new information. Thank you for sharing that. Um, but for parents out there that are listening, because, I happen to be a parent who has a child in AAU sports, and I did not know what I was getting myself into before I signed up. Can you give them some insight? Like if they're like, oh, my child is just very talented in this sport. They're doing way too well to stay in rec sports. What is that like to go into AAU?
It is very time consuming. You travel like what feels like all the time, like all year round. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's worth it. The exposure you get from it is unmatched. I mean, it's not like you're just going around to tournaments in the city or track meets or whatever matches in the city. You're going all over the state, all over the country, and for me, it was just all about the experiences and being able to build those relationships. And those relationships carried on over to college. Like there are people I've been running track against or I met back when I was in middle school, and we have just continued to have a relationship. I mean, we're out of college now, and I still know, like you still know these people. You still keep in touch with them in some form of fashion. So, I mean, yes, it is busy, but the experience, the exposure that you get from playing a traveling sport, AAU or USA, I mean, it is amazing. So, yes, and it does cost a lot of money. I understand that, but some things money can't can't buy.
Yeah.
And so just hanging around in the city, paying for rec sports, nothing against it. At the same time, if you can afford it or if you can make some sacrifices, and only if your child is willing to work.
Say it louder for the people in the back. Say it louder.
Yes, because if your child is not willing to put in the extra work that goes into being a part of an AAU team, period, I wouldn't invest my money in that. Like, no, I don't care how much you like the sport. I'm not paying for that. You don't go above and beyond to show me that I should be investing my money here, that I should be making these sacrifices. Like, and it doesn't matter how much as a parent I may want it for my child. If they don't want it for themselves, then it's just not going to happen.
Right.
So, and then don't get me wrong, there were some times where we just, there were 4 of us. We just couldn't do certain things. Yeah. And honestly, I'm glad my parents told us no sometimes, because it just made us it definitely made me have a better appreciation for the things that I was able to do, the things that we could do when it was time. I couldn't imagine them telling us yes, yes, yes to everything because that's what we wanted to do. I probably would be a brat, honestly.
Very true.
But yes, it's a lot of sacrifice, and it definitely takes up a lot of time. But I feel like in the end, it's for sure worth it as long as the child is putting forth the effort above and beyond. I'm all for it.
Well, I've been hearing too that AAU sports are kind of like taking precedence over high school sports. Like, AAU coaches are like, you can't play on your high school team if you play with us. You got to make a decision. Like, what do you think about that?
I don't think it's fair. At the same time, I understand it, but I still don't think it's fair. And the only reason why I don't think it's fair is because, like, it's just not, you can't make a child say, okay, I'm just going to completely forget about my school team and I'm going to come over here and play AAU sports. But at the same time, as far as the camaraderie of the team and just building that foundation, I understand the coach in that aspect. But I don't like it. Maybe because they're probably saying it because kids are feeling like they won't get scholarships unless they play an AAU sport or what have you. But I also you just have to. Man, that's a tough question, and is a tough question for me to answer because my high school coach went above and beyond to make sure we had the exposure that we needed, as if we were still running AAU track. And see, AAU and USA sports, they allow a lot of exposure, whereas school, you typically, after the state meet, that's usually it. And that's not enough, especially going to college, because in college, you're competing against everybody. You're not just competing against the people in the state. So I definitely understand where the coaches are coming from. But at the same time, if you have a lazy coach in high school, that's not going to push you guys past just the state meet. They're not going to encourage you to go to nationals and I'm speaking for track. They're not going to encourage you to run indoor track because in the South, we don't necessarily run indoor with high school. That's an up north thing. So when we get to college, we don't know anything about indoor track. That's usually like our first time running an indoor meet.
What's the difference between indoor and outdoor?
So the indoor track, well, for one, the biggest difference is it's only 200 meters the whole way around, whereas outdoor track is 400 meters. And then the distances, sometimes the races are a little different. Like you don't run the 4x1 in indoor track. You don't run the 100. You run the 60. You run things like the 4x2. But the biggest difference is the actual size of the track. And that's difficult. Like you're going around 2 curves, so it's so much in track and field, depending on the type of coach you may have, plays a role in your experience when it comes to you going to college and you getting scholarships and things of that nature. So I understand those AAU coaches, but at the same time, it's like, well, go ahead and coach at a high school here.
Exactly.
And give the neighborhood kids an opportunity to get the same exposure as they would if they were playing AAU. Introduce something else to them and make it fair. But don't just pull the kids out of the school and say, oh, if you play AAU basketball, then you can't play for the school. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. All right. We've been talking about coaches Quite a bit. So tell me about your favorite coach, their name, and how they helped you on and off the court or the track, actually.
I would have to say my favorite coach was my mom. She coached me all through high school. And I say that
Oh,
because she was tough. Like, she was tough. If it was not track related, in practice anyway, don't talk to her about it. It wasn't anything personal. It had everything to do with when you come to practice, you're here to practice. I'm not a
you're like,
doctor.
I'm not mommy. You're like, I'm
I'm
not
not,
mommy right now.
yep, I'm not a doctor. I'm not mommy. I'm not a trainer. I'm nothing other than your coach, and I want the best for you on and off the track. She worked us really hard. And outside of track, I mean, we did so many fundraisers. Oh my gosh. She took us everywhere. I mean, we ran in track meets everywhere, but we had to work hard on and off the track. I mean, she didn't sugarcoat that at all. And she just helped me understand, like, Lauren, you don't take things personal. Business is business. If you're not prepared, somebody else is going to come and take your spot. If you're prepared, you don't have anything to worry about, and it was tough love. But I appreciate it. I would never forget one day in practice, she told me what the workout was before we got started. And then halfway through the workout, she was like, "Oh, I read the workout wrong. That's wrong. That's not how it's gonna go." And I had an attitude. Needless to say, I had a terrible second half of practice. She talked about me the whole way home. She was on the phone and to who ended up being my second college coach, and I'll get into that part. But she talked
Okay.
about me so bad on the phone the whole way home. Like, I wasn't even in the car. I was sitting right next to her, and I was like, wow, I can't believe her. But, like, she was so upset with me because I just didn't try. And she knew that there was so much more in me. Like, I just gave up and I didn't have a reason to give up. At the time, no, I didn't understand it. But, later I'm like, I was wrong for that. I should have just went ahead and sucked it up and ran. But oh my goodness, she didn't talk to me for a whole 24 hours. Like, 24 hours
Oof.
being the next day when we got to track practice. Mind you, she came home, didn't talk to me. I was like, oh my goodness, mommy. But
Mom don't play.
oh, not at all. She didn't play on or off the track. But I'm thankful for it. Like, for us to travel, yes, our parents had to pay dues and everything, but our team, we fundraise. I mean, we used to be on the corner asking for donations. We did car washes. We did raffles. We sold the chocolates. A lot of stuff I don't, excuse me, really see anymore, and I wish I did. And I just feel
Yeah.
like it makes you have a greater appreciation for everything that you have, and you do moving forward, because it's not just given to you. It's more like you earned it,
Yeah.
so.
Absolutely. Now, when you say we, are you talking about your team or are you talking about your siblings? Because did everybody play sports in the house?
We all play sports, yes.
Okay, so you have a twin sister.
Well, no, we're not twins.
Wait, I thought you had a twin.
Mm-mm.
Wait, she just looks
Nope.
exactly like you?
Yep. She's actually years older than I
I
am.
cannot take it. I'm like, she just looks exactly. I mean, when I say exactly, oh my gosh, we have to post this picture. Like, because I kid you not. Why? I always thought this because when I saw a picture of the two of you together, I was like, wait a minute. I did not know Lauren had a twin because her sister looks, I mean, almost identical. Like, it's crazy.
No, 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 no. She's 4 years older than I am,
Wow.
and yes, I'm actually the third child. I have a brother in between us, and then I have a brother right underneath me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Am I the only crazy person who thinks y'all look just alike, or do other people?
No, you're not. And I actually tell people all the time, when people think we're twins, I'm like, L'Oreal, just let them think we're twins. You know how excited people get when they see twins? They're like, oh my gosh, I saw a set of twins today. And she's like, Lauren, don't do that. That's me.
He's like, I'm your whole elder. Like, stop acting like we're the same age.
Right.
I
Right.
love it. Okay. So everybody did track, or did they do different sports?
No, my sister and I, well, our main sport was track and field, but she did basketball in high school. She did She was on our dance team in high school. She also played on a travel fast pitch softball team. My brothers played baseball and football, but my older brother, his main sport ended up being football. And my younger brother, his main sport ended up being baseball.
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's fast forward to college. So, how did you make a decision to attend the college you went to? Or were you actually torn? Like, did you get like acceptances from different colleges and you were like, I don't know where to go?
I got a scholarship to North Carolina A&T State University. My sister was already there, so that was easy.
Your twin. Your fake twin was already there.
And so I was there for 2 years at A&T. Ran track there, of course. Didn't like the way my career went, how things were going. It just was not going good for me then.
What was your major?
Animal science. While I was.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Well, I had my mindset on going to dental school. And so, I mean, you don't have to.
I'm confused.
I know.
I'm like, so wait, you want to go to... I'm like, you want to go to dental school, but then you're like, you know what? Animal science.
Well, so the courses that I needed were all the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, a lot of the courses, I'm like, okay, those medical courses that you had to take in the sciences and the chemistries, like they were all the same courses that I had to take. So it all,
Mm-hmm.
It worked out. But I ended up not going to dental school anyway. And then I pledged that while I was at A&T as well. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Say it loud and proud. Okay.
But shortly after that, after my sophomore year, I ended up transferring to the University of Florida. Okay. I ran track there as well. I had a scholarship there. And here again, I just didn't perform well. I was injured a lot. I definitely didn't perform up to my standards of where I felt like I should have been. I roughed it. I'm sorry, Carter just made a little debut.
Oh, Carter. He's awake.
Yes, he's awake now. But it was fine. It was definitely an experience. Everything about just being a part of the teams, the cultures were completely, they were completely different.
Yeah, right. He's like, my mom is saying the right thing. He's co-signing everything.
But I thoroughly enjoy each experience. I can't even compare the two, being at an HBCU, being at a PWI. I can't compare the two. They were so different. I mean, even expectations as far as, track and field were concerned were so, different. And when I was in school, I wasn't as health cautious, but I was cautious to the point where, like, maybe I didn't eat fried foods during the season, or I would eat more of, more vegetables and less snacks and all of that kind of stuff. My sister and I, we had this thing. We lived together, by the way.
Okay.
And we had this thing where we wouldn't buy snacks during, the season, chips and all that kind of stuff. Like, no, we would only buy fruit and drink water. Oh my goodness, we only kept water in our house.
That's good.
Like if we were gonna go out and we were, our house was the pregame spot. I know people, maybe they don't pregame anymore, but it was like you need to bring what you want to the house because we don't have it.
Right.
So we were disciplined in that way with things we felt like we shouldn't eat or weren't going to be the best choice for us. We didn't bring it in the house. So, that helped. But as far as the overall healthy lifestyle goes, I didn't get super serious about it until a year after I graduated from college. And I tell you, if I had that same approach, especially while I was at Florida, because I had a career-ending injury.
What was the injury?
I tore my rectus femoris in my right side. So it's basically my quad, kind of, mm-hmm. It was bad. Oh my goodness. But I say that to say, like, the best medicine is just great nutrition, so I can only imagine what a recovery would have been like for me had I went ahead and started, or better yet, been more serious about my health journey while I was in college. But when you're in college, you don't necessarily know any better. And as a student athlete, to be perfectly honest with you, even at those big D1 schools, they aren't necessarily teaching you what it is that you need to know to perform, at your optimum level. They're just kind of babying you along the way, kind of a little bit. So it's like your fate is up to you at that point. I mean, like I said, things I'm sure would have panned out way different had I been more serious when I was in college. But I don't have any regrets. It was a great, learning experience. And now when I run into younger men and women who are in their collegiate careers now, I just tell them you got to learn how to take care of your body because time going to take care of you, whether you like it or not. It's inevitable. That's what's going to happen.
Okay. So next, you graduate from college, and the next steps were?
The next steps were I moved to Atlanta, and I went to cosmetology school.
Wow. Okay. So we went from, I'm like, let me go through this. I'm like, you like dentist, then you did the animal science, then cosmetology. I mean, these were all interesting transitions.
Yes. I've been doing hair since I was in the 7th grade.
Well, there we go. See, you finally were like, hey, this is something I actually love to do. Let me do it.
Yes. So what happened was, in the way I got into doing hair, one day my sister told somebody that I knew how to do a hairstyle. And I'm like, no, I don't. I've seen you practicing on your doll head, so I figured you could do it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And we're talking about, this was a grown woman. She was a teacher.
Oh, wow.
And so I was just like, okay. So I went ahead and scheduled an appointment with her. I did her braids. Halfway through, I was like, this is my first time. And she jumped up out of the chair. She was like, Lauren. And she looked in the mirror. She was like, but they look good. And I said, thank you. But doing hair was something that, and still is something I do in a pastime if I feel like I just need a break. And I just need a break from the world. Like, that's the one thing I if I'm doing hair, I'm not thinking about anything else. I don't care about time. I don't care about anything that's going on. So I went to cosmetology school in Atlanta at Paul Mitchell. And that was an interesting experience. And I say that because as much as I enjoy doing hair, it gave me a different perspective on women and how we really, really feel about ourselves. And it made me understand that the real beauty comes from within, because it didn't matter how many heads I did while I was in school. After I would turn those women around and they would see their hair and they loved it, they would be excited and they would come back next week and they would just be, like they weren't themselves, it seemed like, and it just made me think about, like, it doesn't matter how pretty you may be on the outside. The real beauty starts from within, just sitting there listening to their stories and listening to them talk to themselves and how they really feel about themselves. It had nothing to do with the physical. It had everything to do with, what was within. Actually, before I got into personal training, I did performance training, which performance training is when you're training athletes to get them ready for their sport. And I trained middle school and high school guys, which that was my gateway into personal training. And so I was going to school, I was training, I was working at a hair salon because, my parents were like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe you going to cosmetology school. Like, we are not supporting that. So I had to work. I feel like I didn't have any sleep after I graduated from college. It was crazy. I was everywhere after I graduated from college. I went to cosmetology school. Let me just bring this all together. I was working in a hair salon and I was doing my performance training. Granted, that was only on the weekends, but I was serious about everything I did. I was serious about cosmetology school. I was serious about working in the salon. I was serious about being, being a performance trainer and working with the kids. And the reason why is because I knew I needed to put my best foot forward at everything in order for me to, get something or get the most out of the situation. I don't like being around people who half-ass the things that they commit to doing. If you don't want to do it 100%, then just don't do it. Nobody's forcing you to do it. You just don't do it. So after a while, I stopped at the salon. I was still in school, and I finished school in 9.5 months. That's a 12-month program. I finished in 9.5 months. I mean, I was not playing. School started at 8:30. I was there at 7:30, clocking in 7:30. I was there. I was involved in extracurricular activities, the volunteer hours. I made it work. I did whatever it was I need to do. And then on top of that, I used to bring my lunch. And the reason why I did that is because I realized how unhealthy hairstylists were. And I wanted to show them that you can still be healthy. So I would pack my lunch. I would pack snacks, because you have to lead by example. You can't just say, oh, no, you can do that and you can do this, but you're not a living testimony to what it is that you're saying. If it's something that you really believe in. And because I was in cosmetology school, I really had to show them, like, you guys, you don't have to order food every single day. Like, take some time out, make your lunch, pack your food.
So true. Like, I swear, my favorite part, I haven't been to a hair salon in so long, but my favorite part about going to the hair salon was knowing I'm going to be in there all day.
Mhm.
Like, I'm going to be in there for like 10 hours, and I know I'm going to go to the Chinese spot across the street. I'm going to get some greasy Chinese food.
Yep.
Like, I already knew what my day was going to be like.
Yep.
And so I know. And they were eating the same type of food
Oh,
too.
for
So
sure. For
yeah.
sure. I mean, and the crazy part about it is, it's very taxing on the body, so you need to feed your body nutritious foods. Granted, yes, I ate out sometimes, but for the most part, I was bringing my lunch. And then everybody likes to talk about money. Oh, money this. Okay, well, packing your own food is definitely way cheaper than buying food every single day. So, in pretty much every situation I'm in, I always want to be the example. After being in Atlanta cosmetology school, went back to Gainesville for a super short period of time, and then we moved out to Los Angeles. That's when I really got into my whole bodybuilding and everything. I was not playing. Once I committed to I'm going to do bodybuilding, like, I meal prepped all the time. We could be going to the club. Obviously, I'm up later than what I should be, so I have to have my food. I remember walking in the club one day, and one night, and I needed to get my ID out, and I gave the bouncer, I said, "Can you hold this for me?" It was my snacks. I gave him my almonds.
That's dedication. That's dedication. You go into the club with snacks. That's
Oh
dedication.
my goodness. And he laughed, and he was like, "You know what? I really respect you for this." And it just came so natural for me. I'm like, okay, whatever. But moving forward with my friends, I just always became the person, like, Lauren always gonna have food. She always gonna have some type of snacks, and I don't mind being that person because I have a genuine love for, helping people. And I know the best way to help people is to be an example so they can see that
Yes.
you can do this. She's not just telling me to do something, like, she's doing it. She's showing me how I can do or how I can be whatever it is that I say I want to be. So that's always been, my thing. And living out in Los Angeles actually, broadened my what's the word? My outlook on, the whole health and fitness world. Like, they're super healthy out there. Image is everything. So they understand that whether, they getting surgery or not, like, that's not my business, but they still understand how important I feel like, just being healthy all across the board is. I mean, even with my personal training clients, they weren't just doing it because it was cool. No, they were serious about their health. Like, they paid me good money to come to their houses and to train them and teach them things about nutrition, and I really felt like, wow, this is great. I was excited about it. I love everything about the, health and nutrition world. And honestly, I mean, now that I'm married and, my husband and I, that's just how we approach our everyday life,
Hey, I would like to, that's what I wanted to ask you. How important do you think it is to have a partner that, is equally yoked when it comes to having a healthy lifestyle?
It's super important. I mean, he just told me the other day, he's like, "Babe, I noticed you haven't been getting your water in like you typically do." And I'm like, dang. I was like, dang, yeah, you're right. You're right. But it is because, like, man, it sucks so bad. It's so hard. Like, when you're really, really trying, really working at something, and you have your partner right there with you and they're doing something of the complete opposite.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, I couldn't even imagine because I'm a foodie. I like to eat. I really, really like to eat. So I couldn't imagine, me trying to make some salmon and broccoli and, whatever. And Christopher coming out with some fried catfish. Oh God, I love catfish. Like, that's my favorite fish. I'm like, oh my goodness, why did you do that? I couldn't imagine having that battle. And it's so, the clarity that you get from being on the same page, especially from a health and nutrition standpoint, I feel like that's unmatched too. You just feel different. And then it also reminds you that you guys are together. Y'all have, y'all working towards the same goal. So that's an even better, feeling. I know I couldn't date somebody or be married to somebody who they just didn't care about their health. You just waiting to die. You living to die, actually. And that's how I feel about it. But we just, I don't know. I just, it's super important because it's so much more about nutrition, about a person's health and what they think about their health and their approach to it. It'll tell you so much more about them. And I say that because of the mental clarity that, eating or having a healthy, active lifestyle gives you. I tell people once you start to improve your life, you're going to lose some people along the way, and that's fine. That's fine. No love lost. You just have to keep it moving and know that what you're doing, the changes that you decided to make for yourself, they're going to be better for you in the long run. So, man, it's just that's so big to me. I can't even, now that I'm sitting up here thinking about it, and I'm thinking about it and shaking my head because I just never imagined being with somebody that didn't care about their health and nutrition as much as I did. Right. Granted, I feel like you can do everything in moderation. Like if you want to have a drink, go right ahead, have a drink. I'm not saying that that's something you should do all the time, every day. If you want to eat ice cream, go right ahead. Satisfy your cravings. Is that something you should do all the time? No. But you always should be able to bounce back and get back to the basics. And to have somebody with you, your partner, that can help you do that and encourage you along the way, it just makes it even better.
Totally. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Oh, you know what? I left out one important thing.
Oh, what?
My husband and I, we have a manufacturing company now of vitamins and supplements. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. What's the name of it? Like, do you manufacture different brands or just one brand?
No, it'll be different brands. But the name of the manufacturing company is Carter Christian Labs.
Awesome. I mean, y'all don't play.
Yeah, named after our son and our daughter. So we actually dropped our first product for Chris Johnson. He used to play for the Tennessee Titans. Draft week. So he has a pre-workout and a nootropic, which is for cognitive health. We just dropped that 2 weeks ago. It's been absolutely amazing.
That's incredible. Y'all just keep winning over there and keep, inspiring other people to be healthy. I mean, I'm just like hand clapping and praise dancing over here. No, that's amazing. Congratulations. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this business continues to grow and flourish.
Thank you. Super excited.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
And you're just going to give me the first answer that comes out of your head. Okay. All right. What time do you normally wake up in the morning?
About 7.
Okay. What is an app that you go to pretty much every day?
My Bible app.
Okay. Your favorite book of all time?
The Coldest Winter Ever.
Okay. What is a small thing you do each day that makes you happy?
Ooh, sing in the car.
Okay. How many hours a night of rest do you get?
At least 6.5.
Okay. Tell us the number one way you make fitness fun.
I dance. I dance when I'm tired.
What do you find is your quickest and most effective workout?
When I do an Olympic lift combination, it can take me about 15 to 17 minutes.
Okay. What's always in your gym bag?
My fanny pack pouch.
Okay. What's one thing that can make or break your workout?
Oh my goodness, if I leave my headphones. Oh God.
What's a song that is on your playlist right now?
What's the song on my playlist right now? Goodness, I can think of so many. Oh God, don't do that to me. Michael Jackson, PYT.
Oh, that is my song. I have like a list of top 5 songs. That is my number 3. I literally, yeah. Okay. What do you think your life would be like right now if you weren't working out or eating healthy?
Oh my goodness, I'd probably be like what they call skinny fat and miserable.
What are some meals you typically eat before your workout?
Eggs and bacon and oatmeal. Because I typically work out in the morning.
Oh, okay. What about after your workout?
I have a go-to shake. It's called Huma Pro. It's absolutely amazing.
What makes it amazing? Is it helps you recover?
You can use it for recovery, but it's super clean. It's I'm not vegan or anything, but it is vegan and gluten-free friendly. But it's a very, very clean protein shake. It has some BCAA amino acid delivery, but it feeds me and refuels me on such a cellular level. Like I feel like I can work out all over again after I take it.
Okay.
It does taste good, and it does not taste like your typical protein.
Ooh.
It actually tastes like a juice.
I'll give that a try.
It's amazing.
Okay. On a cheat day, what are you eating?
Pizza, pancakes.
Okay. What's your go-to beauty product?
Vitamin E oil. Does that consider a beauty product?
Yes, that's an amazing beauty product. Which deodorant is your favorite?
It is Tom's of Maine.
Okay.
It's a no aluminum deodorant.
Okay. And when you hear the words "pretty girl sweat," what do they mean to you?
That there isn't anything that I cannot do.
All right. What's next for you, Lauren?
What's next for me? I'm pregnant again.
What? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I just found out.
I was not ready for that. Wait a
I was contemplating if I was going to say something or not, but yeah.
I'm done. Congratulations. I'm all teary-eyed. That's beautiful. Oh, Carter's going to have a playmate. Oh my gosh. And you know what, as a parent of multiple children, that back-to-back lifestyle, I'm all here for it because they will now have a buddy and then you'll have free time. It's going to be tough in the beginning, but hey, you just hold out for a good 3 years. You're going to be like, thank you, God, we made this decision. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. We just found out yesterday. I was in denial, but just found out yesterday. So
congratulations. Oh,
thank you.
That's everything.
When you said what's next, I'm like,
well, we can't top that. I mean, I know, you have your nutrition store out in Alpharetta, right? Is it Alpharetta?
Yes. Yep.
And so you're doing that.
It's complete nutrition.
Nutrition. You're going to be managing 2 babies, being an amazing wife, and continuing your journey as a health leader, a personal trainer, and just all around incredible friend. So you have a lot coming up next.
I know it. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So wait, you're also going to be at Pretty Girl.
Yep.
And I think now, not only, I think I'm even more excited that you are.
Well, the first time I did it, I was pregnant.
Yeah. Is this like a tradition?
It might be.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's incredible for you to be an example to women that, even through your pregnancy, you got to stay active. There's certain ways you may have to modify your workouts, but you can get.
Oh yes, definitely. You'll definitely see some modifications coming.
Oh yes. Wow. This has been all too real. Getting this breaking news here has been exciting. I'm just so happy. Like you literally made my day. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I cannot wait to get this episode up and out to the world. And that's Lauren. Keep up with her on Instagram at Lauren Lease and follow her store page at Complete Nutrition Alpharetta. Join us on Saturday, September 14th for the 3rd annual Pretty Girl Sweat Fest Atlanta. Grab your squad for the ultimate Sweat Sisterhood Fitness Festival. Register to receive exclusive access to elite trainers. Because with heart-pumping workouts coupled with the dopest female DJs, you'll get a first-class ticket to your favorite fitness trends and hit songs. When you're not sweating it out, you can rehydrate at our sip stations, refuel in our Savor Garden filled with deliciously healthy food trucks, refresh in our Style Lounge, and shop in our vendor village. Head on over to prettygirlsweat.com/PGSF to get your tickets today before they're gone. Just one more thing before you take off. Do you want to get a short email from Pretty Girl Sweat every Monday and Friday that serves as a daily dose of all things inspiring and allows you priority access to our upcoming events? Just go to prettygirlsweat.com. That's prettygirls with an S, sweat.com. Drop in your email and you'll get the very next one. And if you sign up, you'll soon discover that there's no hood like sisterhood. Until next time, always remember that good things come to those who sweat.